Welcome to this Friday, July 21st edition of Wasatch Weekends. I'm your host, Ben Roof. On today's show, Nuzzles Co joins us to introduce us to another one of their fuzzy adoptable friends. And we're also joined by Kim Smith with Adventures in Coaching, where she will share with us some advice on how to overcome some career hurdles. But first, some local news. Effective July 20th, all open fires and fireworks are prohibited in Park City. The Park City City Council, in consultation with the fire department, police department, city manager, and Park City emergency planner, have decided to prohibit open fires. This includes fire pits, slash piles, wood burning fires, and open pits. However, this does not prohibit the use of propane fires, city-approved fire pits, and barbecues. Now, let's take a quick look at our local weather.
This weather report is brought to you by Sun and Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
Welcome back to Wasatch Weekends. We're once again joined by our friends from Nuzzles Co. Welcome to the show, Josh.
Thanks for having us. We're happy to be here.
Who do you have with you today?
This is Kelly. Kelly is a dog from the Navajo Nation area. She's about a year old and she's a mama. She had a litter of puppies about 10 weeks ago. We have 5 puppies here or at our ranch. I'm at the adoption center today. We're actually filming a commercial with Nate Wade Subaru in just a few minutes.
Oh, fantastic.
He's one of our partners, so kind of exciting. But Kelly has 5 pups back at the ranch, and they are some of the cutest dogs and sweetest dogs that I've ever met. So in addition to Kelly being a beautiful and very sweet adoptable dog, she has her 5 pups that are now also ready to be adopted.
Fantastic. And at 10 weeks, I assume they're ready for adoption now?
Correct. We usually about 8 weeks, we start to look at their weight and their like how healthy they are, and then make a decision on spay neuter surgery at that point. So sometimes it's as young as 8 weeks, sometimes it's a little longer if they're a little smaller. But our fosters tend to fatten up the pups pretty good, so they're always pretty healthy.
It's definitely hard to refuse those cute little pups their food. So tell us a little bit about your adoption center here. Last time we had you guys on, you told us quite a bit about your fantastic ranch facility, but no, the adoption center is just a little bit off-site too, right?
Correct. Some people, I think the ranch is, I feel like it's an adventure for someone to have an adoption at the ranch, to drive out there. But the last mile and a half or so is a dirt road. So for some people, they just don't want to make that trek. Our adoption center is at the outlet malls in Kimball Junction. Thank you. And so that's much closer to people in Salt Lake, kind of a central location. And they give us a really amazing deal, very cheap rent. So we're fortunate to have that space. We have cats that live here till they're adopted. And then every day we take a van full of dogs that are here from noon to 5. So people can meet them, come into our meet and greet room, which is where I'm at right now. Spend a little time to get to know them, and we can do full-on adoptions and even vaccinations out of the adoption center here.
That's so awesome. So if somebody is interested in coming to meet Kelly or her pups and adopt them, could you tell us a little bit more about her and her dogs?
Absolutely. So again, every morning we make a decision of which dogs are going to go where. So the best thing to do is to kind of give us a call if you intend to come meet one of them, find out if they're going to be at the ranch or the adoption center. I think Kelly is one of the sweetest, most adoptable dogs. Like with shelter animals, you never know what you're going to get. Some dogs are shyer, some dogs are more outgoing. Kelly loves people. She's super social, super friendly. She just like checks all the boxes. She'll need a little bit of foundational training, but as you can see, she's like at home in my lap and just loves to be loved.
She seems like she's a really calm pup, and I bet her puppies, once they grow up a little bit, might have some of that temperament themselves.
I actually had the puppies at an event with me at Hotel Park City a couple days ago, and everybody just like their hearts are melting because the puppies are just about as adorable as you expect a puppy to be, and so friendly, and just you pick them up in the crook of your arm and they just kind of want to fall asleep in your arm. So super snuggly, super cute. All pictures are on the website, so you can go to nuzzlesandco.org, and on our homepage you'll see like animals that are available for adoption. So it's Kelly, and then her puppies kind of have that similar look to her. Really beautiful coloring, sort of little fuzz balls.
Awesome. So, do you think the pups are going to get to be about the same size as Kelly? It doesn't look like she's terribly big.
We get Kelly when we weighed her last was she's 37 pounds, I believe. Which is like almost like the perfect size dog for a lot of people.
Definitely.
When we do get a parent, like a mom dog, with her litter of puppies, it gives us a much better idea of how big the puppies are going to get. The most common questions we get are what breed are they? How big will they get? And in this case, we can actually say, we don't know what breed they are. It's mixed breed, but here's what mom looks like, and here's how big she is, and here's what her temperament is like. And that gives people a lot more of a clue what kind of animals those pups will grow up to be.
Gosh, I would imagine you don't know much about Dad, do you?
In most cases, dog dads, they make an appearance once and they disappear forever.
Yeah, it does tend to be the case there. So, what else do you guys have going on in the upcoming weekend? Is there anything that you want to make sure people come check out? Any opportunities to adopt some dogs?
This Sunday we'll be at Park Silly Market from 10 to noon with a nice litter of pups, and depending on who gets adopted today, we'll determine who we're bringing tomorrow. This is the last Park Silly for a little while because they take a break for some other events and because of the heat. So we'll do this week, and then we'll be back in September for the month of September for Park Silly. And then we do have our gala coming up on Saturday, August 12th. Our tickets are selling really fast. You can get those through our website as well. It's going to be a really beautiful event at the Pendry.
Awesome. And one last question before I let you go. Do you have any tips for us in all of this heat to help keep our dogs safe and cool?
I mean, one of the tips is if the ground is too hot for you to put the back of your hand on for 7 seconds, then it's definitely too hot for your animal to pause. Similarly with the car, you can add about 20, 30 degrees to whatever the outside temperature is to a vehicle if you're stopping the vehicle, letting the animal in there as you run into the store or something. So just kind of be aware of those temperatures. Make sure that they always have water available. And if they look really hot outside, I like to rub some water on their ears and their paws to help cool them down.
Awesome. Well, Josh, thank you so much for sharing all that fantastic information. And remember to check out Nuzzles Co.'s website for some tickets to their fundraiser gala. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will be right back with a little bit more Wasatch Weekends right after this. Welcome back to Wasatch Weekends. Adventures in Coaching is a segment that we run where Kim Smith shares with us some fantastic advice on overcoming challenges in our career. Let's take a look at this next episode where she shares with us some advice on overcoming some hurdles.
Adventures in Coaching is a segment that we love to do here to maybe help you get inspired to maybe change careers or maybe to just find those little differences that you need in your life to better your life. And I'm here with Kim Smith, who's going to give us some more information. Now, in the last session, we talked about kind of the struggles of making changes when it comes to your career. And now we're going to start to talk about what could be holding you back from success. Kim, thank you so much for being here.
It's great to be here again, Maddie. Thank you.
We love to have the opportunity to chat with you, only because you have so many fantastic ideas and so many stepping stones to help people find maybe that next path in their life. And so we talked a lot about what it's like to make a change. Now, why can people get stuck in a little rut when they're going to make a change?
Yeah, and this is one of my very favorite topics in coaching because it's where we get to dig deep a little bit and figure out, what makes us tick. And, a lot of things can get us stuck, like maybe not knowing where we're going and exactly what we want to do. But once we kind of identify a plan or we think we've got a place we want to go, sometimes we get stuck because of fear. And it could be fear of failure, it could be fear of success. But they show up as like limiting beliefs often. And what that means is those little small voices that we all have that tell us like, oh, maybe I'm not smart enough to do this, or I don't have enough experience, or just the self-doubts that kind of can creep into our thoughts that might hold us back. And a lot of times it looks like procrastination, like we just can't get moving. So if you're starting to feel like you're procrastinating or not getting anywhere, it might be a limiting belief that's holding you back.
Now, we've heard this term limiting beliefs a couple of times from you recently, and so let's talk about what a limiting belief could be.
So like I was talking about, it could be something that, is that small voice that shows up, but it's really about identifying those and where they come from. And, good news is we all have them. Everybody has limiting beliefs. It's not, something that's very unique. And we get them from life experiences. They can have cropped up because of something that happened in childhood or in the workplace, or maybe the teacher told you something that hurt your feelings, or something, but somehow it's gotten exaggerated over time and it's manifesting in our adult lives in ways that may not serve us anymore.
Which is wild to think about. The psychological aspect of this all is something that is so intriguing, and that's where you really come in to help people kind of walk through this. Now, as we've been talking, there are limiting beliefs and there are fear, and so how can you tell the difference between it being a limiting belief or it being fear-based holding you back?
I think they're very similar, so it's a little bit hard to describe, but the fears are really driving those limiting beliefs. And those fears are sort of underneath those. So, that fear of, you want to drill down and figure out what that fear is so that you can see why that limiting belief is holding you back. So is it fear of success? Is it fear of failure? Is it fear of being judged and criticized? That's a really big one when people start taking that, new path forward and they're worried about, oh my gosh, what are my parents going to think of me? What are my friends? What's society going to think of me, doing something different? So those fears really underlie and drive those limiting beliefs.
If we acknowledge that we're in fear, is there anything that we can find a way to kind of work around it, and what can we do about it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, like I was saying before, fear is so normal when you get to the stage of wanting to make change. And identifying what it is really going to be helpful. So, taking a look at where it might have come from and identifying it, naming it, how does it make you feel when you're in that fear so that you can recognize it when it crops up. And it's not enough to just really know about, what that fear is. That awareness is key. But in order to move through it, you have to have courage. And, courage is not the absence of fear, it's taking action anyway in spite of it. So taking some steps, some baby steps, can often be the antidote to eliminating that fear and creating some momentum in what it is you're trying to do and achieve.
Which I think is so important, because not only will you learn a lot about yourself as you're moving forward and making this decision of change, but you'll also just learn a lot about yourself in your coping mechanisms and how you behave in certain situations, because you are re-experiencing those things that have created these voices in your head. Now, as people are sitting down with themselves and they're starting to talk about the limiting beliefs and the fear, there are ways for them to move through them.
Absolutely. And again, it's not kind of a one and done. Once you figure out what the fear is, it's going to take practice. You are going to notice when these come up, and you might be getting triggered in a lot of areas of your life, not just work or, trying to move forward with a goal. It can happen in a lot of places. And what I found is that, they're not really different across different parts of your life. They're pretty much the same fears and limiting beliefs that you have. So recognizing them is really important. And then having those strategies of like, oh gosh, there it is again. What do I need to do? How do I need to move forward? Do I need to take a pause and take a step back and not react to something? Or, is it just a matter of like taking a baby step? And, if I'm trying to make some change in my career, is it a matter of doing some research, sending some emails, doing some informational interviews? What does it look like to help get you out of that fear? And, like I said, action and taking, courage and taking action is the antidote to fear and limiting beliefs.
Which, as people go through this process and they start to identify those fears and those limiting beliefs, how can they start to move forward beyond them?
That's a good question. It's about having that plan. If you don't have a plan, you're really not going to be going anywhere. So I love utilizing SMART goals, and SMART is the acronym for specific, measurable, attainable or achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So if you can take a look at your goals and utilize that SMART acronym to kind of help yourself, have that plan and hold yourself attainable, it can be hugely helpful.
Which I think is something that a lot of us have a hard time holding ourselves to these goals. Now, this is where a coach would really come in and help. So
Yes.
as you're making these changes, how can a coach kind of guide you through this?
Well, so a coach really believes that you know inside what you want to do, and it's my job to pull it out of you. Like, what is that dream that you have? What is that goal that you want to attain? And then help you to create the steps to get there. And in addition to that, I will help hold you accountable. It's not that you're going to be in trouble if you don't do something, but maybe we explore the why. Why are you stuck again? And is it those limiting beliefs that are cropping up? Or is it some deeper fear that we need to address? Or is it just the fact that, you need a little extra push to make that first step and to take that leap of faith? So.
Which I think that there is so many benefits to having a coach to just give you that little bit of extra push, because I know that's where I tend to struggle, is sometimes I just need that little motivation to help myself get to the top of the mountain that I'm trying to climb from the last time we sat down and went through some of this information. Now, if people are interested in having you as their coach to help them with any of these moments of struggling that they could be experiencing, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
So just go to my website, adventuresandcoaching.com, and you can fill out the form there or get more information, or you can email me at kim@adventuresandcoaching.com.
Kim, thank you so much for being here and giving us all this wonderful information. It's so nice to just chat with you and kind of work through these things with you as I'm sitting here and just learning so much from you. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Maddie.
Make sure that you check out Adventures in Coaching. That way, if you are maybe looking for that little bit of motivation, you can get it from Kim because she's absolutely wonderful. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back from the break, we've got more of the show, so stay tuned.
This weather report is brought to you by Sun & Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this Friday edition of Wasatch Weekends. Don't forget to catch us tomorrow for our special 1-hour Saturday edition where Tracy Miller is going to show us a fantastic recipe. We'll also check in with a new TV show and check in with some fantastic things to do around Park City. Don't forget to catch us tomorrow. Until then, this is Wasatch Weekends and I'm your host, Ben Roof.